Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Well, I got through Thanksgiving, the holidays, first week of December rolls around, and the next project revealed itself. I got problems with the Nissan Frontier. The gears are slipping, so I suspect that the transmission's probably severely low on transmission fluid, or at least I hope that's the case. But anyway, we're gonna dig in here and see what we got. Gonna have to locate the dipstick down here and see what we've got going on. So that's gonna be the project for this video. I have no idea where this is going. We could have some mechanical issues, I don't know. I have been pulling this boat with this truck, so I'm hoping that I don't have anything major going on. So let's get started. All right, in case you're wondering why I'm wearing this hoodie, it's flipping cold, man. I mean, it's cold. And of course, you know, that's when you have mechanical issues. So anyway, the first thing we've got to do is, I found the dipstick here, and it's right here where my finger's pointing, this little part right here. Now you got to take out, there's a 10 millimeter bolt you got to take out. So we're going to have to do that first. And I got an extension, and basically you just put that on there and then loosen that up. Man, the wind is just howling today. So let me get that out of there, and then we'll pull this dipstick out and see if there's even any fluid in this tranny. Basically, to give you the rundown, I've never touched the transmission fluid on this. That's my fault. I should have been checking it. So it could very well be just bone dried. I hope it's not, but let's just wait and see. Let me get this bolt loosened, and then we'll take a look and see what we got. Okay, we've got the bolt out. You can see this is where it was mounted to right here. And then I got it swung out of the way. So now this should pull straight up out of here. We should be able to read our transmission. Oh wow, just as I suspected, I don't even see anything on here. It looks bone dry, guys. But let me wipe this off and dip it back down in there just to make sure, but it looks like we're bone dry. We just need to add fluid. Okay, it's more of the same, but I did take my finger on it. You can see how it's coming off onto my finger. So there is some fluid, but it's clearly low, severely low. So there's the line for cold right there. See it? So definitely we're gonna have to address this. So anyway, let me put this back in, and we'll discuss this a second. All right, so here's the deal on this. I'm gonna have to get, the owner's manual calls for Nissan Matic S ATF transmission fluid. So the Matic S is a full synthetic blend transmission fluid. Now you can use what they call Matic J, but that's a semi-synthetic fluid. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to have to order it because you can't get it anywhere locally like an O'Reilly or an Advance or you know, any place like that, Napa, AutoZone. You're not going to be able to get that Matic S Nissan automatic transmission fluid. So I'm going to have to order it online. And so I guess let's look at that next and see what we're going to have to do. I'll go ahead and get it ordered, and then we'll do a drain and refill. Now I would take the transmission pan off and replace the filter too, but I kind of don't want to get in that deep on this deal. I like to drain and refill. So that's the plan anyway. Obviously it's severely low, so we got to get some fluid in this thing and see if it straightens up. So that's the plan. Well, it's a few days later. I was able to get some transmission fluid, and luckily I got it locally. I didn't have to order online, so that's pretty cool. So we've got 5 quarts of the Nissan ATF, and this is the Matic S like I was talking about. And so we should have plenty of fluid for this job. And the plan is I'm going to put about a half quart, maybe 3/4 of a quart in the truck now so that I can run it for a few minutes and get what oil is in there or what fluid is in there warmed up. That way when I drain it, I'll get as much of it out as I can. So I'm going to do that, and I need to turn this truck around anyway because, you know, we're on kind of a slope, and so I want to turn the truck around so that the bed faces the boat. That way the fluid's going to drain to the back of the pan, on the transmission pan, so that when I drain it, I'm going to get as much out as possible. Now, obviously, you know, you're not going to be able to get all of your transmission fluid out because you're still going to have some left in your torque converter and transmission cooler, and maybe a little bit up there in the gears themselves. So, you know, you're not going to be able to get every drop of fluid out, is what I'm saying. So, but this is the best way to do it, and if I'm going to run it, I don't want to run it bone dry. So I'm going to put a little bit of fluid in it right now, run it for a few minutes, and then hopefully turn the truck around and we'll start draining this thing and refilling it. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I got this stuff from the Nissan dealer here locally, and I just contacted their parts and service department and was able to get this fluid. The only drawback is it was $16 a quart. So anyway, that's what you can do if you want to get it locally. Just contact your Nissan dealer, parts and service department, and you can get some. Otherwise, you'd have to order it online. All right, fellers and fellettes, I got the truck turned around and we're ready to drain this transmission fluid. I've got me an empty container, and so I'll be able to measure once I get the old transmission fluid out. I'll use this, I'll pour the old into here until I get 1 quart, and then I'll just have to count, you know, and then I'll just dump the old into another pan and we'll measure off. Long story short, we'll measure off to find out how much oil was actually in here. So you should always measure your transmission fluid when it comes out so you know how much came out. So we're going to get started under here, and so basically there is the drain plug right there. So it takes a 19 millimeter, and you're going to need an extension on a socket in order to loosen it. And you can see this bracket right here is underneath it. So when you drain this transmission fluid, it's gonna get all over that bracket. So basically what I'm gonna do is I got a funnel, and it's one of those here, let me put the camera down and I'll show you here real quick. But I'm going to use one of these funnels. I've got the drain pan over here already, and this funnel here, it has a lip on it. So I'm going to set it like that, and then that way it'll get back behind there and it won't get all over the place. So that's the plan on that deal. So let me get this bolt loosened up, and we'll get this this transmission fluid drained. I'm wanting to get this job done. Here we go. Oh my gosh, it's so hard to maneuver around here underneath the truck. It's kind of frustrating, to be honest. Okay, let's get this in position, and I'm gonna go ahead and take these gloves. I probably should put some gloves on, but I don't have any. You know, not all of us have everything we need. You just gotta work with what you got. You know what I mean? Come on now. All right, here we go. Ooh, she tight. Wow. Maybe I need to use my right. I hit the camera. Dang it. I knew that was going to happen. I just knew it. I knowed it. Alright, hopefully you can see what the heck's going on here. There, yeah. Be about right there. Alright. Try not to hit the camera this time. Alright. I think. So, this needs to go this way. There we go. It popped that time. Popped loose that time. Alright. So now it's time to drain this dude. So here we go. Get this in place so it doesn't get all over the place. It's kind of hard to do, really, honestly. Yeah. Just do this. Get it going, and then I didn't need that. So we'll see how much comes out. Alright, I'll clean this screw off, let that drain. Yeah, that was a good idea to park my truck the way I did. Hopefully this will, but you could tell it's not, the fluid's not burnt, but it's got like a golden color. It doesn't have a pink, red color anymore. So it definitely needed change, that's for certain. But we'll let this drain and we'll find out how much actually drained out of here. That'll tell us if it was really low. Because typically, from all the videos I've seen, this transmission, now this has got the 4-liter V6 in it. This transmission holds between 3 and 4 quarts. So, on a refill. From all the videos I've seen. Boy, I hope that ain't splattering all over the... That wind's kind of whipping today. Okay, guys, we're going to let this drain. And then we'll come back at you and we'll get this plug put back in. And I'm not going to worry about changing the filter or lowering the pan right now, like I said earlier in the video, because I just didn't want to get in that deep just yet. I want to see if changing the fluid gets rid of the slipping, and if it does, then I'm just going to leave it alone, because these transmissions, they can be a headache, you know. When they're good to you, just be good to them back, you know. So anyway, we'll see you here in a few after this drains. Well, I got all the fluid out of the transmission, so that worked out great. I got the plug put back in, so we're ready to refill. But before we do that, we need to figure out how much came out of the transmission. So I told you earlier I was going to use this empty quart container to measure off. But instead, I'm going to use this empty water jug that I have. So we'll know by that how much fluid come out. 4 gallons, or a gallon equals 4 quarts. So it'll be easier to figure out doing it this way. So let's figure out how much was in there. This will take a minute to pour in there, so fast forward right here.
Well, what's the prognosis?
I don't know yet.
Is there any metal in the...
No, there's no metal.
It's just low, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, the fluid looks really horrible.
Oh, really?
Well, it's almost black. It's like borderline, you know, when it gets that golden color, it's time to change it.
Yeah. Probably a good flush.
No, you don't want to do a flush. We talked about that the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Well, fellers and fellettes, it looks like 4 quarts come out. And you can see how bad it is. I'll tell you what. Why don't you come down here and take a look here. Look at that. Looks nasty, doesn't it? But it's got a really, it's like a golden, deep, dark golden color to it. But yeah, it's pretty dirty. So there you have it, folks. 4 quarts come out. So I got to put 4 quarts back in. That's next. Well, now it's time to get this thing filled back up. 4 quarts came out, 4 quarts is going in. So let's get started. Hopefully this transmission will stop slipping. Can't be having that. So here we go. No spillages. Okay, number 3. So we got 1 quart left. I think I'm going to stop right there and let that settle into the pan. Make sure there's no leaks. And then we'll top it off from there. So let's do that. And then we'll see what the dipstick shows and go from there. Something to think about here, guys, is I went ahead and put the dipstick back in. I'm letting the fluid settle in the pan. But I wanted to mention that if 4 quarts come out of the transmission, then we know that the transmission wasn't low on fluid. We can go ahead and mark that off the list as a potential issue. The fluid did look bad, so it could have been getting hot and causing it to slip. That could potentially be a problem. But hopefully this will get me by through the winter, and then maybe in the spring I can pull the pan off and the filter and refill it again. But I didn't want to get in that deep because of winter and it being so cold. But I just wanted to mention that if 4 quarts come out, then obviously it wasn't low. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. All right, I got to thinking about it, and I remembered I put a quart in the beginning before I started the motor, before I drained the transmission. So I'm going to use the rest of that quart. So that really means that we only need to refill 3.5 quarts because we drained out that 1/2 quart that I put in. So anyway, I'm going to put the rest of this one in, and then we should be topped off and good to go. And then we'll just take this thing for a drive, short drive. I need to get some fuel put in it. We'll take this thing for a short drive and see how she does. Hopefully that slipping stops and we've solved the problem. All right, let's take this thing down the road, see how she does. I'm gonna try to go through the gears first, make sure it's switching gears real good. Let it idle back down here real quick. It should be fairly warmed up. I had it running a few minutes ago. Okay, let's try reverse. Okay, good. Neutral, good. Drive, good. All right. So let's go ahead and take this for a little drive and see how she does. Boy, I tell you what, that dipstick is really hard to see the fluid level. So you almost have to pinch your fingers on it, see if there's any fluid, see how high the fluid is. It's pretty much how you have to tell. Well, I had a good day to do this, so give it the drive around town treatment. Not be too hard on it. And I need to get some fuel anyway. It's below 1/4 tank of fuel. So we'll just see how this goes. Hopefully this solves the problem. You know, I mean, that was my fault. I just didn't change it. You know, and I've had this truck, it's got 68,000 miles on it. I just had never changed it. So far, okay. I wonder if I should go. I don't want to go too far. I just kind of wanted to take it for a drive to see how the truck did, but we'll let it get up to temperature. I mean, it should be by now. But yeah, you're supposed to change that fluid every 30,000 miles. I'll just run right up here to this Thornton's and back. And we'll see how she does. Boy, traffic's horrible. Can't see nothing with that big old pole they put in here recently. Alright, come on now. Here we go, I think I can go now. Yep. Ah, I just did it again. Just hesitated. What was that? Maybe it's the overdrive messing up. Yeah, it's doing it again. So that's not the problem. Yeah, it's doing it. Wow. Wonder what's causing that. Well, looks like, guys, I'm gonna have to take it somewhere and have this looked at, because it's still doing it. It's not as bad, but it's still doing it. So I'm not even going to worry about putting fuel in this thing. Just whip it back to the house. Let me give it some gas and see what it does. There's no lights coming on. Like, you know, there, it just did it. I think it's the overdrive. I turned the overdrive off. I want to see if it does it, because it may be the overdrive. So it hasn't done it since I turned the overdrive off. So let's drive this a little bit further. This is kind of a tricky little corner right here. So I went through the gears fine. I think it's the overdrive. It's not doing it now. That's interesting, guys. I told you I didn't know where this video was going. You never know with these transmissions. So I'm gonna drive it all the way up here to this gas station up here and see if it does it again. So far, so good. It hasn't done it. I think that's the problem. So I need to take this in and have maybe take it over to Mr. Transmission and tell him what it's doing in overdrive. It may just be something to do with the overdrive. So if I keep the overdrive off, it's fine. But that's not good if you're going, if you're out on the interstate, that's not going to be good. But that's clearly, ooh, I got a toasty in here. That's clearly what's going on though. Because if there was a mechanical issue with the transmission itself, it would still do it regardless of whether your overdrive's on or off. The fact that it ain't doing it anymore tells me there's something wrong with the overdrive. And I had been switching the overdrive on and off because I'd been pulling that bone. And so I'm wondering if there's some kind of relay or whatever the heck is, however that works. So that puts my mind at rest a little bit, knowing what it is. But it's a good thing I got the transmission fluid drained. It really looked bad, and I got to thinking about that too. The fluid, it had, it was like a golden chocolate, dark chocolate color, and I think it was even darker than that, because you got to think I added a half a quart of new fluid, so that would have changed the color a little bit. But clearly the fluid was really bad. So the transmission's fine. It's the overdrive. So there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Click like, subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, and it really helps the channel. The likes on the video helps the channel too, and helps the video get out there. So please do that, and I'll let you know what's going to happen to the Frontier. I think I'll just take it into somewhere like Mr. Transmission or somewhere like that, and they can put it on the computer and well, I don't know. Well, I don't know. They'll figure it out. They're the smart people, So we'll have to take a look at it and see. But it's something to do with the overdrive, and that's the issue. So, but at least that's how you do a drain and refill on a 2014 Nissan Frontier. So anyway, we'll see you on the next project, and hopefully it won't be dealing with this. So, cool. We'll see you guys.